What did you want to be when you grew up? Doctor? YouTuber? Influencer? Well, Elizabeth Holmes grew up aspiring to be one thing: a billionaire. She had a goal and she'd do anything to reach it. In this video, we're going to look at the disgraced CEO sentenced to 11 years in prison. And this one's about to get insane. How it all began. Ever since Elizabeth Holmes was just a kid, she was always surrounded by successful people. Her dad was the head of Enron, one of the biggest energy companies in the world. Her uncles, aunts, and everyone she looked up to had huge projects going on, and she wanted to be like them. She wanted to do something big, something that would get her recognition and show people what she was made of. She knew that to reach her end goal and make it happen fast, she had to start working on it right away. So even as a child, she was constantly coming up with ideas and theories. It was clear to everyone around her that she would grow up to become an inventor and innovator. And, well, that's exactly what happened. Elizabeth was a total overachiever in high school, learning Mandarin fluently, working on inventions, and even creating software that taught computers how to code. Her language skills came in handy when she decided to sell her software to universities based in China. Not only did she have an amazing product, but the businesses really benefited from her being able to communicate with them in their native language. She put the money she earned from this venture into a savings account, ready to invest it when the right opportunity came along, even though she hadn't actually decided what that would be just yet. But Elizabeth was determined and knew it was only a matter of time before she'd have her own company. During her time at Stanford, Elizabeth worked to make a name for herself. When she was studying chemical engineering, she also took up the role of a lab assistant and student researcher on several projects. Setting up the groundwork. After her freshman year, she started working as an assistant working in the Genome Institute of Singapore. That's when Elizabeth realized she had a fear of needles. She was surrounded by them every day and wondered if other people experienced this too. After doing some research, she found out that it's actually a pretty common problem. That's when she decided to do something about it. So she came up with a solution, an alternative to needles. She designed a machine that could take a tiny drop of blood and run multiple tests without requiring the patient to face any discomfort associated with needles. This way, people who are afraid of needles can still get their blood tested without having to experience too much pain or anxiety. Elizabeth was determined to make this a reality, so without any second thoughts, she dropped out of college and started her own company, Theranos, using the leftover money from her tuition fees. With Ramesh Balwani's help, whom she met at Stanford, and his huge financial resources, her company soon got off the ground and she was able to promote her product. The blood test machine had been built, and now it was just a matter of pushing it into the market in mass numbers. Elizabeth wasn't going to let anything stop her, so she went on a mission to reach out to investors, having access to Ramesh's networks, and kept her head held high, armed with something solid in her hands. A twisted tale of lies. Elizabeth Holmes was pretty good with words. She claimed that her invention could run up to 1,000 tests using just a single drop of blood, and would revolutionize the diagnostics industry. Not only that, but it would also make testing 10-fold cheaper than existing standard testing kits. It was almost too good to be true. Elizabeth also said that her invention was already being used overseas by the military and was performing well. She made wild claims that this machine could test for minor bacterial infections to serious diseases like cancer, all with just one drop of blood. It was a revolution, and investors couldn't wait to pour their money into it. Even giants like Walgreens had already invested. Everyone wanted to jump on the Theranos bandwagon. Because of all their investments, Elizabeth Holmes was named Forbes' world's youngest self-made female billionaire, and her net worth was a whopping $4.5 billion. She had achieved her childhood dream, but the work was far from over. She had to turn Theranos into a reality and deliver on the promises made. But there was something they didn't know. Elizabeth Holmes' company was a scam. Elizabeth had everyone fooled. She was the talk of the town with her revolutionary idea that seemed to have turned everything on its head and changed the game for good. Except it wasn't really real. Turns out Elizabeth never cracked any code, nor did she actually revolutionize anything. It was all an elaborate lie. Yes, she was great at convincing people, but not so great at delivering on her promises. It turns out that Theranos was outsourcing their tests to another lab, and the tiny samples were giving inaccurate results. People were being diagnosed with serious conditions like HIV and cancer, only to find out later that it wasn't true. Needless to say, this sparked outrage, and Elizabeth Holmes' deception was soon uncovered. Elizabeth Holmes and her unexpected downfall. Elizabeth Holmes' facade came crumbling down one piece of the puzzle at a time. In 2016, the SEC stepped in and banned her from laboratory testing for 2 years, leading to an immediate closure of all Theranos centers. 2 years later, it was official. She was charged with massive fraud alongside 9 counts of wire fraud and 2 of conspiracy. It was the final nail in the coffin for Theranos, and Elizabeth's billion-dollar castle of lies lay in ruins. Elizabeth Holmes, the 38-year-old founder and former CEO of Theranos, has now been handed down a prison sentence of 135 months, or around 11 and a quarter years, with an additional 3 years of supervised release. At the hearing, there was some heated arguments between the prosecution and defense. They argued over details such as how big the Theranos scheme was and the amount of money investors had lost in it. It was a tough battle, but eventually, Holmes' sentence was set for April 27, 2023. At the end of it all, the Vila found that investors had lost a whopping $121 million because of Holmes' fraud. He went on to say that, if not for her deception, Theranos' stock value would have been much lower than it was. As things stand now, restitution and other damages will be determined in the coming months. The trial of Elizabeth Holmes began last September, and things quickly got interesting. Holmes' defense team tried to paint her as a victim, claiming she had no idea about the company's internal issues, and instead pinned the blame on Ramesh Sunny Balwani, her former boyfriend and business partner at Theranos. During the trial, Holmes even went as far as to accuse Balwani of emotional and physical abuse, something his attorneys have denied. It's a story that just keeps getting more bizarre. The 20-year age difference between the two has certainly added some fuel to the fire. It was quite a show in court. Prosecutors had former Theranos employees as witnesses who said they tried to raise flags about the faulty testing, but were ignored. Then there were former investors and board members that admitted they'd been completely taken in by the false claims. To top it all off, patients testified about how they received inaccurate test results. No way out. After a 4-month trial, Elizabeth Holmes was convicted on 4 out of the 11 counts in January. All 4 charges related to investors' financial losses from Theranos. The jury couldn't reach a verdict on 3 charges involving other investments, and Holmes was acquitted on all charges related to patients. Each count she was convicted of carried a potential punishment of up to 20 years in prison, along with a hefty fine of $250,000 and restitution payments for victims. If that wasn't bad enough, Holmes is also facing civil lawsuits from numerous investors and former employees related to her actions as CEO of Theranos. In early November, Elizabeth's attorneys pled her case to the court, requesting a maximum sentence of only 18 months and preferably to be served under house arrest. They went one step further and submitted 130 letters from family members and close friends in support of their plea for leniency. But the prosecutors argued that she should get 15 years in prison and pay out a hefty $800 million in restitution. But with her brains, who knows? Maybe she'll never actually make it to prison after all.